Greetings, listeners in Listenerland. This is Arnold Stricker with the effervescent Alka-Seltzer Plop Plop Fizz Fizz, Mark Langston.
And backwards, Knott's Canal Cram.
That means those Plop Plop Fizz Fizz are getting back into your hand.
I know it.
Glad that you joined us today, folks.
They haven't changed the locks yet, so that's why I keep coming back.
You can't get out, that's why. Oh, my. St. Louis in Tune focuses on issues that impact and connect the greater St. Louis area. Our topics include the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports. We always like to be civil on this show and return to civility. This is the Speed of Laughter Project. Mm-hmm. And this is a great one, especially for tomorrow, Juneteenth,
right?
Is host a cookout. There's no better way to build community than by getting people together, and nothing brings people together faster than meat and fire.
Are you a good cuer?
Yeah, I can cue.
Yeah?
I can cue.
Mm-hmm. I'm still learning. I can do it, but I'm learning. I used to throw stuff on, like a hamburger or something, and just cook it, make sure it's well done. It's like leather. Now I'm timing it. I bring my phone out, I time it, and I turn it over.
That's right.
Now I'm getting the hang of it, I'm happy to say.
It's a great art.
Yes, it is an art.
And if you can't do it on your own, there's plenty of places here in St. Louis to go to.
Oh,
okay, but there's plenty of neighbors that probably can help you out too.
Honey Pit's going out of business, though. I'm sad about that.
What pit?
Honey Pit used to be Charlotte Peters' place. Do you remember Charlotte Peters?
Very much.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's Chris in the background. She's been there. Do you know who Charlotte Peters is?
Yes.
Okay.
She had a show on Channel 2.
Good. Wow.
Yes.
And then she opened up a restaurant.
I didn't know that.
It's on Kirkwood Road, right?
Big Bend.
In Big Bend.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah.
And then a place called Honey Pit took it over, and it's delicious barbecue. And I don't think they made it through. Now the High Point is moving in there.
Yeah, there was.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is Mike Johnson, and
yeah, that's
what an
good
entrepreneur guy he is. He has a place in Webster here, Cyrano's.
Okay, didn't know he owned that.
He owns that too. Yeah.
Okay, they got their place down in McCausland and also down on Washington Avenue.
In Maplewood, he did Boogaloo's, and he did a couple other places. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He goes in, he finds a chef, and then he goes in and he partners up with the chef and kind of gets him going. He helps him seed money, and then he goes, okay, it's yours, and I think he probably keeps a little bit of the piece of the pie and moves on to another project.
Piece of the queue?
Yeah.
He's putting out some good food, I'll tell you.
He does. I know. He's got the knack. He's the guy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
you're fine.
hijack the show.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You're just locked in over there.
All right. Nobody to talk to.
That third voice you heard, folks, was the voice of Chris Mullen. She hosts Studio 111.
Yeah.
And a show that you need to listen to. Had a great show, Chris. The other day I was listening to the show on the Motown.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I sort of dipped into the songs we don't hear all the time
from
Motown.
Right.
You know. So.
And
So
do you have a favorite like that?
Mary Wells.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Mary Wells.
She didn't have to stop and think about that.
No, not a minute. Well, she was talking about Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, yeah.
One
that's
of my favorites.
coming up next week.
Okay, sorry. Oh, am I allowed to cut out of the
No, that's
I didn't know what that was,
okay.
but I thought when I heard Sly and the Family Stone, what a great performer.
Great clothing, too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I missing something here?
He sort of brought hippiedom to African American soul music.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We're going to talk about something that, Chris and I, we both love music. We both love the arts, literature. And in major societal stress times, there have been incredible kinds of literature written, art produced, whether it's visual arts or kind that in a novel or poetry or a play and music and just a whole kind of the genre of the arts. And sometimes it pushes a movement along, and sometimes it's synonymous with a movement, and sometimes I don't really think, as I looked at this, that it's on the back end of a movement.
Right. One of the things about COVID-19 and how it has affected us is that it's global. And we've been experiencing it in real time across the globe. That makes it a little different than like the bubonic plague. Took a little time to get there, you know. We have had wars. Still, the action has been location specific. COVID-19, anywhere, anytime, anybody, you know. We didn't know if going out to get the mail would bring this into our lives.
Right.
You know, it's something that we've learned about on the fly. We are a little more comfortable about being in a room with other people.
Right.
But it has caused a different type of stress in our world. And the art that has been happening, and we have had art come out of this that is specific to this, and initially it's been corporate responses. You know, I understand people have to sell their product. They had to find ways in their marketing department to get their product.
Right.
You know, against all of the odds.
Wow.
You know, some have done a little better than others. And in addition to that, we've had other things going on that have been monumental. We've had a civic unrest in this country unlike one that we've had in the past. We've had a major election. We've had what many people say is an insurrection that happened January 6th. We've had schools closed. We've had kids at home for a year and a half.
I know.
You know, that's something quite different. We witnessed in real time the murder of a man by police officers.
Oh,
You know, I mean, we've had things going on, but we've also had art going on. I don't know how this is going to play out artistically. I don't know if the 8-year-old who got more family time than he ever thought he would have is going to write about this in 20 years.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about John Borman's Hope and Glory. I don't know if you've ever seen that film. It's his interpretation of what he witnessed and experienced as a kid in London during World War II. And the kids have created their own universe, still depending on the adults to protect them. And to sort of stretch it, it's like Charlie Brown. The adults are wah, 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 and the kids are trying to make it through.
Wow.
You know? I wonder if we're going to see something like that. Is there going to be a body of literature and film, you know, and what they're going to say? What are the artists who were juniors in high school going to say? You know?
That's a fascinating.
Yeah, it's like the kids who were packing to go to college, and college became their living room.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There are things that are going on, you know. Comedians seem to have gotten into the game of expression about this quite early. Some musicians did solo concerts that you could see on Zoom.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then we went to porch concerts,
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah.
Or the whole Zoom concert thing became a real, once people got it figured out,
Yeah.
like you said, even the professionals put it together.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There was a bassist who was playing at the Sheldon. She was on stage. The tech guy, one person set it up, and you attended that concert by Zoom.
By Zoom.
There were 2 people in the Sheldon during the concert. You know,
It's amazing that music breaks through all the time, always breaks through. You can't hold it back. They find ways. It's like water, finding the easiest, the easiest way. I don't know what music does to our soul, but we have to have it. We need it as a human being. Mm-hmm. And it just amazes me how during this pandemic, there were so many different opportunities to see people in different ways. I was watching TV and they had each one of the artists, the musicians, in a different Zoom, and they were all playing good.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how they dealt with the lag times.
Yeah, yes.
Whoever was engineering those is brilliant.
And I don't know if there's like a software that kind of,
I don't know,
times it all together or something like that.
I don't know.
But we would not be silenced. Our music would not be silenced through it.
No. There was, I'm sure there were more than one, but there was a poetry presentation on Zoom, poets from all over the world, gathering together and sharing works. Most of the works were like some pretty mad people, but the work hadn't firmed up yet either.
Right.
We'll see where they go with that.
Right.
And folks, we talked off air about this a little bit prior to the show, that if you look back historically, and one of the things that's missing is the ability to communicate on a massive scale, and which we have now, obviously, with the internet and the ability to talk to people and get information very, very quickly. But you go back to the Renaissance time, you're talking about either it was somebody who was very rich and powerful, or it was the people who were in charge. And many times those were the same thing, the same people. Yeah. And then you have transitions from Renaissance to Baroque, Baroque to Classical, Classical to Romantic. And if artists were not going around and checking other people's works out, or listening, or maybe they were in the same household, they were employed by the same benefactor, then they would kind of spur each other on. But you look into our history, or let me go back, you look at like the turn of the century, 20th century, where you have like modernism now, these are my words, rearing its head, and coming out of the Industrial Revolution. And in Russia, you have the revolution there. You have Stravinsky, who basically got, kicked out of the theater after his Rite of Spring was presented.
Sure.
You have all kinds of wild kinds of things. Picasso, people not understanding, but Picasso could have painted just like Rembrandt.
Right.
But he was thinking a different way. And you look in the United States, you have during the Roaring '20s, you got the Harlem Renaissance, which has this proliferation of literature and art and music come out of it. And then during the Depression, what's going on during that time? I think of John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath.
Right.
You've got Woody Guthrie writing folk music. And so we're just kind of touching on things like that and saying, okay, now with the pandemic that we've gone through, one of the things that's made it different has been the ability to communicate through Zoom, the ability to get information. You look at people, they have a YouTube channel. And then they have how many likes, how many dislikes, how many followers, et cetera, like that. You have the ability to create music on your own electronically, a whole lot easier. You don't have to employ an orchestra or something like that.
Right.
You can, take art lessons, or art now has pretty much, I don't want to say pretty much changed, but how people view art has kind of been modified. And then literature. I haven't seen a lot of literature other than poetry come out, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah, the turnaround time for novels.
A little longer.
A little longer, but think of Dickens' and Tale of Two Cities. Okay, we're talking about the French Revolution there. One of the most important books in English language. There's a book by Japanese writer, I believe it's Ibushi. It's called Black Rain. It's told through diaries written in 1965, and it is about the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima. One of the most harrowing novels I've ever read.
Right.
Because even though you're talking about that specific event, he's dealing with the human condition. You know, it's absolutely beautiful. What's the guy's name? Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Love in the Time of Cholera. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a title.
No kidding.
Exactly. I think that says what
It
the
says it
story's
all.
about.
Yeah.
You
Does say it
know.
all, doesn't it?
And you talked about Picasso. He did a piece called The Tragedy, and there are like
yeah.
3 people on a beach in mourning. You know, you don't know why, but it's also the time of about World War II. So you get the feeling of what's going on there, you know. He didn't have to write an essay to go with it.
No.
Right.
You view it and you go, oh, this is pain, you know.
Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things more recent in our lives that sort of touches on this is the World Trade Center in September 11th, 2001. There were 2 other places that are part of that, but we think World Trade Center.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was incorporated in the art of the time, and one of the things that I found interesting, the television series comedy Friends was going on. They did not put that into the script, but at the opening, they started off, you'd always see the World Trade Center.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day it was gone. There was no mention of why. It's just gone. Other television series that were based in New York had to make the same shift. Some incorporated the stories like Law and Order.
Right. Exactly.
You know, others just, it was here and now it's not here. You know, how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
You know, creatively. Particularly, like I said, with Friends, it was a comedy.
Do you think that the current television, which I really, honestly, I don't watch a lot of network stuff, I think a lot of people have plugged into other kinds of groups,
Right.
not to shamelessly plug anybody, but like a Netflix or, you know, watching movies or series that are made for those kinds of things,
Right.
you know, on Amazon Prime.
Shameless plug.
But do you think that a lot of the production of Hollywood, it was kind of minimal, but during times of stress like this or severe issues, that it either focuses completely on it or, like you said, completely ignores it? And is it more of a escape kind of thing for people where it's ignored, or is it like, here's something, look, folks, we got to deal with this. We have to get through this. How do you see this? Is it kind of both? Is it neither one?
I think it's both. One, those art forms are collaborative, and they require on broad viewing and advertising dollars. So they don't want to go too far afield of what their mission is. Well, their mission is to get paid.
Right,
Okay?
Right.
Entertain you and get paid while doing it. So it can be difficult for them to do that. Some are hardcore. Law and Order, Dick Wolf, okay, I want a channel 24/7 devoted to anything that he
There
does.
is the Law and Order channel.
Yeah, there is. I think there is.
I think there is, and I haven't found it.
Right.
You know, but
he's
I
amazing.
know
He is amazing.
where to flip to get to a Law and Order franchise at any
Right.
time of the day
Yeah,
or
yeah.
night. I just want to ease the flipping process there.
I love that theme song. Dum,
Oh,
dum.
yeah, you know. Oh man, yeah.
Turn it up. Dum, dum.
But they brought, headlines into
They have, yeah.
a series
Yes, they
and
did.
how it's dealt with.
Crazy.
Yes, they did. And they've dealt with some brutal issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but they've done it well. They've done it right. You know, and you also cared about the characters.
No kidding.
Right.
I
You know, the principals.
That's true.
You know, Olivia Benson. Okay.
Yeah.
Stabler.
Yeah, who came back for 13 weeks this year.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's
who
like,
was
thank
Olivia
you.
Benson's? Who was her mom? Her mom.
It was
She died in a terrible automobile
That was
accident.
Jane Mansfield.
Jane Mansfield.
Yeah,
right.
Jane Mansfield. And she
Yeah.
was sitting in the back seat when her mom
Right.
died.
Mhm.
When it's we were just talking about that last week. What a tragic
It was a
story.
horrific accident.
Yeah, as a young child, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
But Chris, do you think that that's why you see a lot of independent filmmakers and let's just stick with film right now.
Mm-hmm.
Independent filmmakers really they're pushing their things because they don't necessarily have to please a network or a corporate sponsor. They may have backing from somehow, but I can get out there and I can put this thing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're not having to kind of tickle people's ears to
Right.
make them feel good. It's like, wow, that was shocking, or that was too realistic, or it made you think. Do you sense that independent filmmakers have more of kind of an edge on things like that?
They have less controls put on them at that time. In some cases, their career can go that way. However, if you sign the contract with the big boys, as it were, you're going to have to compromise. Okay, you have to come in with a script that has name recognition attachment to it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Right.
So you may have a wonderful film in mind and bring it to a different table, and by the time it's over, you're not even attached to it. Okay.
Right.
So
Wow.
if you want control over your product, do your product.
Right.
You know?
You think we're paying more attention to films and music? This isn't meant to be like devoid of the internet. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're paying more attention to foreign films because we've kind of expanded our vision of, well, I wonder what's going on from Sweden, how they're portraying this, or from Australia, how they're portraying this, or from South Africa, how they're portraying this, and how stories of their country, or maybe stories of worldwide issues, are being told. Do we see different perspectives? Do you think we're being more open to that?
We have more access to them.
Right,
You
right.
know, a few years ago, a film Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The
played
trilogy.
out at Frontenac.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I took a friend who hates foreign films and anything with subtitles.
Right.
After that film, that experience, it's like, where can I see more films like that?
Exactly.
You know, there are film festivals all over the country and in St. Louis that are specific to cultures and ethnic groups. You know, people show up.
Right.
You know,
Yes,
film
they do.
festivals do a great service to us.
Yes.
That's
They
correct.
do.
Even the one we have here in St. Louis. They
Absolutely.
do a great job.
Yeah,
We've had
plus
them
you
on.
see a lot of indies.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
We're going to keep talking about this. We've been talking to Chris Mullen, who's the host of Studio 111. We're talking about art in the times of major societal stress, and kind of wondered what have you been doing out there to handle some of this stress? You know, are you listening to music back at a time when you were feeling good? Did you go back to the 60s or 70s, or, you know, if you're that old?
Yeah.
Or did you watch plays or movies that you found were, you know, kind of making you feel better during times of stress? Or do you go back to like the action adventure kinds of things, you know? Or as we were talking on break, the Godzilla movies.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
So wonder what you're doing out there, folks. How did you get through the pandemic times and this stress with the arts? You can't turn the radio or the stereo off or the television or leave your books down or whatever. You have the arts have something that links us to society, links us to our past, present, and future, and where we are at the time. So there's kind of some questions to ponder, maybe as you're driving down the road. And if you have to catch us somewhere else, you can always catch us online. Just listen to radiostl.com and punch in our station, and you'll get our view. So, okay, we come back, Chris?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mark, you good with that?
I am. I'm absolutely good. Yes, I hope she does. I don't want her to go anywhere.
So we're going to be back. You're listening to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston. Welcome back to St. Louis in Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston. We're talking to Chris Mullen, host of Studio 111. And Chris, tell people when your show is.
It's on Tuesdays at noon to 1, and we have fun.
And we
have good music.
We
yes.
replay it on, I don't know when, 2 other times.
Yes.
One is, I think, Sunday night or Saturday night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to check. It's on 3 times a week.
And you're going to be really sly next week.
I have to bring in Sly. The weather's changed. My attitude has changed.
Oh, no.
We need to have some fun.
If it's not a pandemic, it's the temperature outside.
Yeah, we were talking about pandemic pounds off the air.
Yeah,
and
don't look at me.
and Chris was in the culinary focus for a while, and then it was like, okay.
Yeah, I got over it. I went back to, I
Healthy
think I
eating.
can make this work. No, not quite. I rediscovered my ice cream. And I have learned that all ice creams are not created equal.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's about the milk fat.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. And if you want to do a root beer float, you have to have a particular type of ice cream.
Yes.
Pray tell. Which
And
is
root beer.
Well, tell me.
That is correct.
All right, tell me real quick. Come on. This is our cooking portion. What's a good ice cream and what's a good root beer to use for it? Because my grandmother used to make it all the time, and I haven't made it.
IBC.
Right?
You like IBC? I like IBC.
IBC.
Of course, I am a Fitz guy. I don't have a Fitz, but IBC is good.
Fitz will work.
They got
Or
IBC.
root beer float, IBC.
Okay. Got it.
And vanilla bean gelato.
Ooh,
Okay.
gelato.
It works.
man.
Yeah.
It works.
It lasts.
It lasts and it stays creamy. You don't get those ice crystals.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
See, look at this.
Yeah.
You can write that in your book.
high class
Put
there.
that in your book. I would put that in your book, a whole chapter on that.
I think I could.
I'm going to remember this. I'm going to try next time I see
Yeah,
it.
that's that midnight run to the refrigerator when no one could tell you no.
No kidding. I do the same thing. It's like, are they all in bed? All right, I'm going to head straight for that
There's
closet.
just a little bit more left, so another couple scoops won't matter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to waste a bowl. That's evidence. The bowl is evidence.
Oh, look,
Just,
they're wonderful.
I know. They are. Okay.
So art in times of major societal stress. I guess what should we expect here, Chris? I know I'm going to give and this isn't a shameless plug. This is just a great plug for Opera Theater St. Louis.
Yes.
Who has really modified what they've done. They're having
Yes,
their
they
shows out on the parking lot, and they have I think it's 3 or 4 short operas.
Yeah, they're one act of
Yeah.
art condensed.
Right. 20 minutes or 30
I go
minutes.
to them, and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
You're in pods of 2, and Leonard Slatkin is up there conducting, and it's like, whoa, okay,
The St. Louis Symphony on a parking lot playing.
Yeah.
No,
That's
it's one.
slacking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
The after effect of
Wow.
these shows, they remind me of old concerts where after it's over, everybody mingles because the musicians sometimes get to their cars before the audience
Right.
does.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yep, I got this trumpet, I'm gone.
Right.
You know, but the works are wonderful. The acting and the singing is supreme. You know,
Love it.
and it's fun.
Yeah, it really is fun.
It's fun.
How do you think the pandemic's going to change how we view the arts? As producing it like this, or writing, like maybe more shorts than long kinds of things? And from the audience participation, being a more active participant than being a passive participant.
Excuse me.
I choked her up there.
I know.
I was thinking about not what opera theater has done or Shakespeare in the Park, but what about the rep? You know,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
getting people back inside is going to be interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to see that season of plays. I don't know if I want to sit that close to
I
somebody.
am with you on
inside,
that.
you
I know it.
I mean, we are talking about
I don't
something called the Delta variant out there.
Yeah.
So that has me concerned.
And not everybody got the shot or anything else, and they're being
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but people lie.
don't they?
You know,
I know they
that's
do. Oh yeah, I got it. No, you didn't.
Right, you know.
I know better.
And I'm still a bit cautious,
Yeah.
and it was nice not having a cold for a year.
Right.
No
Year and a
kidding.
half.
Yeah, the flu just went off the cliff.
Yeah, there are certain things that
Right.
having a mask and disinfecting sort of help. But
Yeah.
then what happens when I get a cold? You know, is it going to be worse than they used to be? I don't know. But maybe somebody is going to write about that.
Yeah.
And I hope they do, you know.
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe more presentations. I've seen some where the actors and actresses have been on stage and they've just filmed it and put it on live, on either on Facebook or
Yeah.
a YouTube channel or both or things like that.
Which does work, but I do like live theater.
Right.
I like going to hear music and feeling the bass coming through the
Yeah.
chair.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There's certain things you can't recreate.
Right.
You
That's
know,
true. Feeling the music. Yeah, you feel it. Yeah.
how much do we have to adjust and how do we redirect certain expectations?
Well, the energy of a performance too that's live, and I remember hearing performances
Oh, yeah.
live, and then I go back and listen to it again. I'm like, well,
Not the same as
it
live.
wasn't the same. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't as excited,
Right.
and I didn't hear some of my words, mess ups that happened, or maybe I ignored them because the fever of the intensity was pretty high.
Yeah, we spoke about Sly Stone. He played at WashU's Quadrangle, his
Oh, my.
group. And
Oh, how cool.
for some reason, however, I found myself on stage laying on an amp. You know?
I need a photo. We got to have photographs. of this
Incredible experience.
She was feeling that bass.
I know. And she had her bell bottoms on.
Yeah.
Probably. You cannot recreate
No.
that feeling
No,
in
you
your
can't.
living room.
Right,
you
right.
know?
No matter whether you have surround sound or not.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's
That-
true. Yeah.
you know.
There's nothing like a live performance. Yeah.
And that's what we've been missing. A lot of people have been really longing for, i.e. you got the porch concerts, you have people strolling up and down the street playing their instruments or groups of instruments marching through the street just to kind of be a band. I remember when the pandemic first hit and people would play in Italy off their balconies, and people were just like crying and just
Right.
so consumed by the passion of what was going on at the time.
That's an interesting thing because you experienced that too, in your own way. And you knew what they were going through and you went right there with them, I mean, I love what our creative community has done and has tried to do. But I also worry that they lost income. Some of them lost audiences.
Right.
And we lost quite a few artists to the pandemic.
Right, right.
So sad. So sad.
Yeah. And there are just certain things that surround that that we have to reckon with in our own heads, and we have to reckon with creatively and artistically.
Yes. Yeah.
Stand-up comics, who's it? Dave Chappelle
Right.
was giving stand-up acts at his home and invited other comedians there and had audiences.
Huh.
And I go, yeah, wonderful,
Right.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it.
Right, right.
And unfortunately, he did contract COVID, as did some of the people around him. But he tried.
Right.
Yeah.
He tried.
He did.
You made a great point, because a lot of musicians, actors who haven't made it to the big time would supplement with secondary jobs like
Yes.
being a server at a restaurant.
Right.
And now you have both of them shut down.
Yes.
And being at the restaurant or working a secondary job would allow them the ability, then they could go out and utilize their talent or develop their talent or show their talent.
Yeah.
And now you got a double whammy. So I would encourage everybody, when you have the opportunity to go to a live concert or to a live performance of the arts in any kind, do it.
Absolutely.
And if there's a tip jar,
Do it.
fill it.
Yeah.
And don't be ashamed or afraid, because a lot of these folks, they're barely making it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about a year and a half plus now,
Yeah. It's over a year.
Some people use that period, speaking of musicians, to woodshed. Practice, write.
Right.
But in addition to being artists, they are people like us, and this has been traumatic for them,
Oh, yeah.
So whatever we can do to help one another,
Right.
let's get on with it. As the British say, we're going to carry on,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It will carry on. I'm just kind of curious how things will be viewed in the future. And if we could, fast forward 50 years, 60 years, and look back and say, oh, that's a new author, or, oh, that's a new poet, or, wow, look at that emerging artist
Right.
that came out. It would be interesting to be able to see this time in the future, looking back. It's easy for us to go back and look at things like we mentioned, like the Harlem Renaissance, or modernism at the turn of the 20th century, and go, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But we didn't live then.
Right.
And it's one thing to live it and go through it and to observe the art that comes out. And it's another thing to look back and read about it and observe the art that comes out.
There was a novel called, what is it, Between Assassinations, that it was Southern Asian, and I can't remember right now, but it was between the deaths of Indira Gandhi and her son. It's like, 20 plus year time. And what was happening, the impact of that led to that, and how a nation morphed during that period that allowed the second assassination to happen.
Wow.
I think we will get some very strong literature out of this. Yeah, I think we'll get some good films. I'm a little more iffy on the film just because it's a different type of business model.
Right.
Right.
Possibly the more dramatic ones will be in the indie circuit,
Right.
But whatever it is, it's going to come from all over the world. This
Right.
is not a U.S. thing anymore.
Right,
This
right.
particular thing is not a U.S. thing.
Right. Yeah.
Though we will have U.S. artists and creatives approaching it.
It's more of a worldwide,
Global.
a global expansion of the arts in that way.
Yeah.
Because
And-
when you were talking about assassinations, I was thinking about Kennedy and both Kennedys and Martin Luther King, and then what was going on in the '60s. You got the Vietnam War. You got
Right.
a lot of turbulent times, and the music and the art and the literature that came out of that time.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you spoke of Harlem Renaissance. Prior to that, late 1800s, a guy named Charles Chestnut wrote a novel called The Wife of His Youth. And it was about reunification of black families who had been enslaved, you know?
Oh, wow.
It's like, that subject is a deep subject.
Yeah.
Right,
I would
right.
You
bet,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
What was
would
his name
suggest-
again?
Charles Chestnut. Yeah, it's like 1890s he wrote this. You know,
Right.
and people who had different paths after enslavement, but their family had already been broken up. And what happens when they meet again, if they meet again?
Yeah, if
you
they
know?
meet again.
Yeah. So he tackled that.
Wow.
So,
What a subject.
yeah, major event in humankind that happened on this soil, and someone wrote about it. You know,
And that's, it takes courage to do that,
very much so.
because you can get, catch it from a lot of different ways. And it may not be a popular book at the time, but several years later it may come out to be a real star.
Right. You know, somebody took a chance and published it.
Right.
You know, and gee, here it is. You know, over 100 years later, and I've read it.
Right.
And I go, wow.
Wow.
You know, I wondered what happened. He shows me what could have happened.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things. If we could, it's the Cher song, if I could turn back time, to different dials on different decades,
Yeah.
what would you do differently?
So you like Cher?
No,
Okay.
I didn't say that.
No,
I didn't say it. I
that.
love the Sonny and Cher show. The Sonny and Cher show was great.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
I thought that was fun.
If you say so.
Okay.
It was entertaining. The Smothers Brothers were on there.
Smothers Brothers, I liked very much.
Do you want to talk about a 60s kind of
You're there.
stick it in the man's eye?
Yeah.
That was the Smothers Brothers.
Yeah.
Yes. They did that, and they paid the price.
That's correct. That's correct. They've stepped a little too far.
Yeah, where was Netflix when you needed it? No.
You can still go back and watch some of those shows. I think
Yeah.
they're on.
I just found out that they are doing replays of the Dick Cavett show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I liked it, Kevin.
that was
Yeah.
my go-to.
Was it?
Yeah. Those people were vicious on his
Yes.
show. I don't know if you've ever seen Gore Vidal and
I don't remember.
he
I liked
and
him.
Truman Capote
Oh,
had
yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing going on,
Really?
and that was television at its best.
They were
to
killing
me.
each other with their words.
Yes, yes,
Back then, yeah.
yeah, and they were marvelous.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, what's the guy? William F. Buckley, I would like to see replays of his.
Yes.
I mean, that guy was brilliant.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily agree with him, but gee, could he put it out there?
And that was one of the things at the Opera Theater St. Louis. They had a William F. Buckley and James Baldwin conversation
wow.
that was like a 30-minute opera.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And what was your impression of that?
I liked it. They came at it from different points of view. They both had the language, you know.
And the mannerisms.
Yes, and they were respectful for one another. But you talk about throwing major shade, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
To see that in almost an academic sense, it's like, where's the
academic.
popcorn?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah. I think they respected one another.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. Disagree, but respect each other.
Yeah.
Different points of view.
There's a lot of
Respecting
things
the
that
other.
we can disagree on, but there's some essentials that we should always agree
That's
on.
a whole show.
Yeah, that's exactly
Now
right.
people are take it to the extreme now.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
You know, the Sunday morning shows, the political shows, I find fascinating in that without the disagreement, there would be no need for the shows.
Yeah.
Right. I guess that's true. That's true.
As long as they're not yelling at each other.
And they know their facts.
And yeah, yeah, a
You
big
know,
thing.
That helps.
A big
Yeah,
thing.
but they don't. Yeah, they don't work things out though. I'm just. I'm sorry. I'm just bitter about it all. I am bitter. It's because if you're a Republican, I hate you. If you're a Democrat, I hate you, and I'm not going to try to work with you. And that's just it's just terrible.
Yes.
It really
and
is.
that's why we need
It
a
is.
little slide.
I know, right.
In the everyday people.
That's right.
You
That's
guys
right.
brought this forward, but we're not going to vote for it because it wasn't our party. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
All right, never mind.
It gets you
Don't
crazy.
get me started. It does get you crazy. I already am crazy.
Chris, thanks for coming in today.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. I had a
yeah.
good time, and it's wonderful seeing people
Yeah,
again.
yeah, exactly.
I know. We're keeping our distance, though.
Yes,
But
yes.
we all
You
have
know,
shots.
it's been me and Derek in here
Yeah.
most of the time, and
Well, and-
he's brilliant
And
at what he
seen without the
does.
masks, too.
I know.
You know,
I know.
that's nice.
Trying to do that.
And you're
Well,
welcome to.
I have mine on the
Hey,
table.
we've got
I
it
got
here.
mine, too.
And you're welcome. We're just going to kind of finish out the hour here. You're welcome to stick around here and contribute. Mark, you got some things you want to share with us?
No. Wait.
You don't?
No,
You
let's see.
don't?
I'll tell you a couple things, though. Today is it's National Want to Get Away Day. Did you know there was a National Want
Is
to
that
Get
like
Away?
Southwest Airlines Day because of all the problems they've been having?
I guess it could be. It's a national, but it's National Getaway Day. It's also, this is one of your favorite days, National Splurge Day. So
Ice cream floats? Root beer floats?
Yeah,
with IBC root beer.
but I need a steam mop, so I may splurge on that.
It's National Steam Day, and it's also National Wear Blue Day. Do you have any blue on today? Anybody?
My blue shorts.
Do you? Because it's supposed to be to let people
shoes.
remind people of men's health.
That's correct.
With Father's Day just around the corner.
Colon cancer is the color is blue. Prostate cancer, the color is just a different blue.
Is that right?
I know those things.
Yeah. And they have wonderful tests that aren't so evasive anymore.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So you should maybe, if you're a guy out there, think about taking one of those tests.
Get it done.
Your family will love you for it.
Didn't they drop the age to 45 for men?
I think so.
Yeah.
Something?
I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
especially if it's in your family, in your
Yeah.
bloodline anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's that's a couple of the highlights of what's going on this day. We talked about High Point, moving. Yep. That's about all I have there. But we're just Father's Day coming up, and I don't know. Everybody's asking me at home, "What do you want for Father's Day?" Pistachio nuts.
They could join the pistachio
I
gallery
love
we
my
have here.
pistachio nuts. I don't really.
I love
just
them.
want to be. I know. I just want to be with my family.
Yeah.
I said, take me out to dinner somewhere.
There you go.
Could somebody just cut the grass for once? Just one time.
Give up the remote.
Oh no, I'm not giving up the remote. Oh, no. I come in and grab it. You have to grab. You have to be assertive. Who's got the remote? Give it to me. I'm old. I get the remote. And then I can fall asleep like nothing.
Oh,
I have the gift. It's called the gift.
I do not have that.
Don't you have the gift? My wife
No.
doesn't either, Chris.
No.
And she hates me
To
for
fall
it.
asleep in front of the TV?
Oh, I'll be done in a minute. 2 minutes?
Nope.
We'll go to bed and I'll put my head down on the table on the pillow. I'm gone.
Nope.
I'm gone. And she's like, "Oh my God, took me an hour to get to sleep, and you were asleep in a minute."
Yeah.
Wow.
I have the
no.
gift. It's a gift.
So here are some, we had Richard Kite on the ethical life.
Right.
He has a podcast, but here he has 7 rules of life, and this is a good way to end this portion of the show.
Okay.
Rule 1, make peace with your past so it won't screw up the present. Rule 2, what others think of you is none of your business. Rule 3, time heals almost everything. Give it time. Rule 4, don't compare your life to others and don't judge them. You have no idea what their journey is about. Rule 5, stop thinking too much. It's all right to not know the answers. They will come to you when you least expect it. Rule 6, no one is in charge of your happiness except you. And Rule 7, smile. You don't own all the world's problems.
Right.
I like that.
I do too. That's good.
A couple things there to, brighten your day and your weekend. And don't forget there are a lot of celebrations for Juneteenth tomorrow. You might want to check, and this is a shameless plug for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, that they had a listing of some things, and one of the, actually the number one thing they had listed was about someone we've interviewed on this show.
Okay. Pray tell. Go on.
Well, there is an art show, or I should say he's displaying his work. Dexter Silvers is displaying his work. We had Dexter on the show. He wasn't here in studio, but I interviewed him down at his studio.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And he has
I remember that.
a demonstration tomorrow. It's from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And that's down at, I'm trying to find it here, that's at a, down on Delmar. During that, it's that art strip down there now.
Yes.
They've got, you know what I'm talking about, Chris?
Yes, I do. It's wonderful in there, too.
Is that right? I have not been there.
I just can't think of the name of it.
What's it, Delmar and what? What's it near? Delmar and Skinker?
No, it's just east of the Loop, probably about half mile. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's on
Almost to the Bolivar, but not quite.
Okay. Right in there. Okay. That's not bad at all. That's good.
And lots of things happening tomorrow with Juneteenth, especially here it is. I have it right here. It's at St. Louis Artworks, 5959 Delmar, and that's from 2 to 5, and it's on Saturday and Sunday, and it is free.
Wow. Now, Old Webster has got Dancing in the Streets again. They canceled it last year. I don't know if you remember this, but folks will be dancing in the streets with the return of the Old Webster Summer Night Street Dance. And it's on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
And it's not a big block party. It's just...
No, it's a street dance from 5 to 10. And they say it's a free event. North Gore, between North Gore and West Lockwood, right by the railroad tracks there. So in there. And there's going to be a guy doing some James Taylor music. And then they've got a group that's going to do some Beatles music as well. So bring your lawn chair. Food and drink will be available. But that's coming back finally to Old Webster, the Old Webster Street Dance. Sounds like fun. I don't think it's a Juneteenth thing, but, if you're out celebrating.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty much surprised that the celebration as it relates to the state of Missouri and the U.S., Juneteenth official has moved quickly.
Yes.
It did, but there's 2 states. I don't remember what they are, that did not adopt it yet or something.
I think it was in North or South Dakota.
Yeah, it's one of the Dakotas. I just can't understand why. I don't get that, but that's a whole other.
There's a lot of things I don't get.
Yeah.
But we do know on this show, don't forget when the Martians invade, there's only one race, the human race. And every one of us have different characteristics and is uniquely valuable. For St. Louis in Tune, studio manager Derek Abbott, co-host Mark Langston, I'm Arnold Stricker. That's all for this hour. Thanks for listening. Remember to walk worthy and let your light shine.